Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everyone's doing super well today. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Let's get started. Hey everyone, how's it going? So, today I don't have my cartoon character because my trial ran out. So, here I am, in all my sweaty glory. It's fucking hot in here. But today, I thought I'd work on some Toon Boom stuff. Since I worked yesterday at my day job, being an animator, and usually Saturdays are for my YouTube stuff. So I didn't get to record for anything, so I thought I'd just show you guys some neat stuff with Toon Boom, using the spline deformers, which is super cool. It's a way to take a drawing and animate it. It's kind of like bone tools. They're super neat. But right now I'm just creating some arms and stuff. But how's it going? Colton Animated Stick, Shadow Cats. Good to see you guys. Hope you're all doing well. Let me know if you have any questions or anything. If not, I'm just gonna keep cranking away and creating my YouTube tutorial stuff. Probably should have colored this before duplicating it, and that's okay. But how are all you guys? Hey YT, how's it going? Good to see ya. Hey Ghostly Fiend, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream team. Let me know if you have any questions at all. So right now, I'm just picking out my colors that I'm going to be using. Oh, thanks, Tariq Tunes. That's very nice of you to say. What are you guys all up to today? Anybody working on any projects or anything? You're up at 4:30 a.m., Gerger? Damn, that's super early. Glad you could make it. Let's see, fill these in. Maybe gray that up a little bit. Looks okay. Oh, and Mr. I Like Food, thank you also for the follow. I appreciate it. Oh, YT, you should go to sleep. Don't let me stop you. Hey, Maximus3, how's it going? Frank Summers is here. Dude, if you guys want to follow an actual awesome animator, make sure you're following Frank J. Summers. Both on Twitch and YouTube. You guys super talented. How's it going, Frank? It's good to see you, man. Alright, so the blue is going to be the bone deformer. We'll make the orange the spline deformer. Alright, so let me get my recording thing. It accidentally started recording when I didn't want it to. I have my cartoon. Stop. So here's my recording software. I use Camtasia for all my tutorial stuff. It's a pretty nice piece of software. It seems to work pretty good. I wouldn't edit in it, though. Editing in it sucks. I'm trying to learn Premiere to edit all my stuff. Z-Dogs, how's it going, man? Another super talented artist. You guys should follow Z-Dogs on Twitch if you don't already. Super talented background artist. Shit looks like Disney. So let's see. What did I say? Bone is going to be the blue one. Thanks, Kevin Bruton. Yeah, Harmony's my favorite animation software. I love Toon Boom Harmony. Which is why I want to get more people to use it. Let's see, let's tone that down a bit. Alright, so I'm going to do some really cheesy recording. Please forgive me. It's all part of the process, though. You gotta embrace the cheese. So, eat potatoes, I'm going to be showing how to use deformer tools in Toon Boom. So, see you, Frank Summers. Have a good night, dude. Thanks for stopping by. Take it easy, man. So, let's get started. I'll start my recording. I'm going to turn down the music on my end. You guys will still hear it, but it won't be in the recording. Thank you for the Hunes Dojo welcome. I love what you guys do. There's some amazingly talented animators that work on that thing. Hey, Tersey, how's it going, man? Alright, let's get started. So, deformers in Toon Boom are super cool, and they're super easy to set up. I'll show you a couple different methods. There's the spline tool, and then there's the bone transform tool. Let's set up a spline tool first. So I'm going to select my artwork. And up here is our deformer tools. So you'll see a hammer with a wrench. If we click that, that'll go into setup mode, and we can start creating our deformer tool. So the way to create a spline deform is to click and drag. So I'm going to click and drag towards the middle, and then I'll go on the end of my hand here, and I'll click and drag towards the middle here. And when it's in red, that means we're still in setup mode. So to get into animation mode, we're going to click on this transform tool. And when we click that, you'll see it turns green. So now, I can take these handles and move my arm around like this, and animate like so. Oops. So it's a really good way to do like rubber hose animation, or really noodly arm kind of animation. So it's super easy to set up. And if you ever needed to change it, you could just click the setup button again. And it'll turn red, and then you can adjust your bones wherever you want them to be. Like so. For a bone transform, we're going to select... Let's see. So if you want this... So if you want your handles to disappear so you can work on other stuff, you can click this button. This button is super useful for deformers. It shows only the selected deformer chain. So since I have nothing selected, I can press this button and it'll disappear. If I want it to show up again, I can click my artwork, press this button again, and I'll have my controls back. So to set up a bone deformer, we're going to click our artwork, click setup, and then instead of clicking and dragging, we're just going to click once, and keep clicking, and click one more time for each bone. So I have one for his shoulder, one for his elbow, one for his wrist, and one for his hand. And to get out of setup mode, we're going to click on our transform tool again. And then the way the bone transform works is if I go in the middle with my transform tool, you'll see it turns into a rotation icon. So now I can click and rotate my arms like so. So you'll see this is more stiff. And it's good for like legs or something that you want to have a sharp joint. It's good for something that you want to have a sharp joint onto. How to phrase that? Sometimes I don't know how to phrase things. It's good for joints where you want to keep a joint intact. You don't want it looking like spaghetti. So that's how we set up a bone and spline tool. If you want to show both of your... Oh, thank you for the follow, Metachion. Appreciate it. If you want both of your deformers to show, you can select both artworks and press this button, and you can have multiple deformers show. So they're super easy to set up, but you'll see I'm having some issues with the hand. And you'll see the same thing happen on here. If I move our deformer back where it was before, and I move my arm around, you'll see my hand gets kind of squished and distorted. Well, to set it up, there's... To set up... To set up something with a... For an... To set up something... To set up something with, example, a hand at the end, we need to use a node. Do I want to go into this? Maybe this is too complicated. Maybe that's enough. But let's say... But let's say I've really distorted my animation and... Let's really screw this up. Let's make it super screwed up. But let's say I've really messed up my animation, and I want to set it back to the way it was by default. What I can do is I can click on each one of these nodes, I'll hold down Shift and click the other one, and then I'll press this button up here, Reset, and it'll reset back to the default position. I can do the same thing with my bone transform by selecting each one of these nodes. It's important you select all of them, or else it's just gonna reset one specific node. So I select all of them by holding Shift and then press my Reset button. And we have our nodes back in place where they were before. Pretty neat and super easy to set up. I love the deformer tools, they're super cool. Alright, we'll stop that. Save that out. And then we'll put it under... I don't have a folder for it. Screen recording. Metachion, will you ever do any streams using Flash? Toon Boom is pretty costly. I don't really like Flash, TBH. Flash isn't fun for me, but if people demand it enough, you know, I'd be open to doing a Flash stream, just for fun. So this is our deformers recording. We'll save that. So the next thing that I wanted to record is, here, let's reset this. So a thing I like to do with my tutorials is leave the source file so people can play with it. And if you go to my Gumroad, you can see all of my source files. You can download them for free. So you can open them up and play around with them. So I'll save this, so we'll make that a source file. Then we'll go new. Milady. Then the new one we'll call Z-Depth is the new one we're working on. Create that. So we gotta draw out a little character for this example. This one's really cool. I use this tool a lot in Toon Boom, and it's where you can nudge things in Z-Depth. And Toon Boom is a 3D program. Even though you draw in 2D, everything you create is on a 3D plane. So, the example I'm going to show is like an arm. So with Flash, if you have a character and his arm is in front of his body, but then you want it to animate and go behind his body, you'd have to create 2 layers and animate it twice, and it's all super complicated in Flash, and it's not very fun. In Toon Boom, all you have to do is press a hotkey, and you can have your character's arm be in front of him or behind him. And that's what I'm going to show in this example. It's super easy. Metachion came here from Huon's Dojo. Do you ever plan to take part in any of the events there? I'm super busy, man. I've got my own projects I'm working on, so it's hard for me to find time to participate in stuff like that, but I'd be open to it if I ever had free time. It's just I'm always booked with work and gotta pay the bills. That's most important. You know, I'd love to do more stuff for fun, but, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. No problem, Animated Stick. Glad you found it helpful. So let's draw our character. Let's Let's see. Let's create our layers. So we'll do a head, body, arm, up, arm down, hand, and table. We'll use table as an example. Add and close. Let's see. So we'll draw our table out. Do I always say super? I say a lot of things pretty often. In my tutorials, you'll hear the word so. That's kind of my Instead of I'll often say so. So today we're going to do this, and so to set it up, so we do this, and so we do that. That's a pretty common one for me to say. How does my hair look? What a weird question, Colton. My hair looks sweaty. Eat potatoes. Can you chop up sounds in Harmony, like cut out some parts of the music? You can. It's not super easy to do. I would actually recommend doing that in a program like Audacity, which is free. It's not super easy in Toon Boom to edit audio. It's usually good to do that in a external program of some sort. Let's see. Let's edit this a little bit. Come on, select it. No, do the thing! It's not doing the thing. There we go. Like that. But yeah, I love Toon Boom. Mostly for the brush. The brush was the reason that I switched over from Toon Boom instead of Flash. Oh yeah, and the rotation of the stage, it's super helpful. Especially if you're doing like long kind of strokes or doing cleanup art. It's super important to do. To be able to rotate your stage so you can do the most natural kind of brush stroke that you want. The new version of Animate CC actually has a stage rotation tool. I don't find it as fluent as the Toon Boom one because it rotates depending on where your mouse is. It's kind of weird. But at least they're trying. At least they're trying to catch up with Toon Boom. I suppose you can commend them for trying. Isaiah, trying to animate, but 30 seconds of animation cost me 12 hours. That's pretty normal. Animation you don't do because it's fast or easy. But it's worth it once it's done, right?
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Papa John's. How's it going, Dark Alice Knight? It's good to see you. What are you up to today? You don't have Animate? I would actually recommend the Essentials version of Toon Boom over Animate. And in the long run, it's cheaper, because Animate you have to pay for every month, right? It's a subscription thing. It's so annoying. I hate the subscription model. Which, Toon Boom doesn't do that. You can get a subscription if you want, but they also offer permanent license, which is what I have. Alright, so let's add a bit of shading to it. Make it look not so crap. A little crap, but not 100% crap. Doing alright, just doodling? That sounds fun. Doodling's always fun. Let's make this a bit darker. How's things on my end? Good. Super busy. Thanks for asking. I had to work yesterday. The project we're working on is like really tight deadline. But it's fun. It's a super fun project. I'm really glad to be working on it. And I get to animate with all my friends. So that's always fun. Always makes things better. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. Thanks for stopping by, GamerPause. Have a good night. Now let's draw our character's body. Actually, let's start with the head. The head's the fun part. We'll give him some little doodly doos for his hair. Here's his body, just basically a rectangle. It doesn't have to be good art, okay? It's just an example. Not that any of my art is any good. Let's see, for his hand... Let's see, let's put the table underneath so we can see what we're drawing. Put his sleeve, like right here. And his upper arm will be right here. Something like that. Yeah, hands are tough. If you want to see what music is playing, you can go onto Twitch and type in !music. All of my stream commands are on Twitch. But yeah, one way I simplify hands is to just draw sort of a shovel shape. And then, you've heard of the phrase straights against curves, right? Like, you can think of it as, like if I were to draw a forearm, I would draw it something like that. Like here's his elbow. Then his hand would be over here. So you have your straight line, and then you have your curve line. So you can think of the straight line as bone, and the curve can be like muscle or fat. So I apply that to fingers. So when I'm quickly putting in fingers, I'll just do the straights for the bony parts of the fingers, and then just put in the fatty parts for the bottom parts. It's not a great hand, just as an example. That's kind of how I do quick form for hands. But yeah, hands are tough. I'm not that great at them either. Another thing I like to do is I try to draw hands as they're kind of exploding out of the arm. That's another way I'll kind of draw hands. It's more of a cartoony way of doing it. The other way is more when I'm figure drawing. Hey, Evan, how's it going, man? Yet to find out how Toon Boom's bitmap brushes work. Can't go back to vectors. It's when you set up your layer. So if you do a new layer, it's all in your setup here. So instead of selecting bitmap, select vector, and it'll go back to a vector. So let's draw his head, like so. Nice little derpy head. Then again, we'll add shading to it. Just because I want it to look a little bit nice. Even though it's only an example. Opinions on animation schools? I wrote a whole blog post about it. You can check out on jessejjones.com. I have a couple blog posts on there that are pretty helpful for people looking into art school or animation school. I personally went to animation school and I loved it. I got a pretty good education and made a lot of good friends. So, and they helped me to find my first job too, which was super helpful. Whoops, what happened there? Okay, that was weird. Let's minimize that. We don't need that yet. Don't need our recorder. Oh, I see. Yeah, I like bitmap brushes too. They're really fun. For sketching, I like using vector. I don't really like using bitmap for doing rough sketching, just because vectors are a little bit faster to use. Bitmap's really good for, like, cleanup is usually what I use it for. They could be fun to sketch with too, though. So let's add some shading with our stroke tool. Like so. I heard Windows Movie Maker was discontinued. Do you know an alternate program? Video editing's weird. I tried searching for a alternate video editing software that was free, and I couldn't really find one that I liked. Lip syncing looks incredibly hard. Lip syncing is actually not that bad. It was my favorite thing to do in animation, was lip sync. And in my part 2 tutorial that I'm working on right now, I go over lip sync. It's actually super easy. Toon Boom has some pretty neat tools for it. But if you're using Flash, check out Keyframe Caddy. Keyframe Caddy is really useful. But yeah, I'm with you, Kiddo Riddler. I liked lip syncing a lot. I thought it was pretty fun. Terzi, you can download XP version to your current computer if you search for it. Oh, that's a good tip. That's a really good tip. I had no idea. Let's see, so let's get our circle tool so we make a good circular joint to connect to. Oh yeah, and if you're on Twitch, you can collect butts. And to check your butts, which is our stream currency, you can type in !butts. It's a Twitch exclusive. Let's see, so there's that arm. Whoops. What we need to do is down arm. Like so. For the wrist, I'm not as worried. You can kind of get away with having a weird joint there if you want. Delete that with our cutter tool. Hey, Vanimation, how's it going? It's good to see ya. Let's see, then we'll put in our shadow. Like so. So there's his upper arm. His lower arm. It's kind of a derpy looking arm. Should probably shorten that. Looks kind of weird. Maybe like right about there. So I'll take my vector points and just move them over here. Something like that. Nope, eat potatoes, it's there permanently. And then we'll do his hand. Hey, Andream, how's it going, man? Damn, so many butts. You guys are crazy. Y'all are crazy. Crazy with the butts. Maybe let's do... Let's see, let's sketch it out first. There we go. It looks a bit better. There we go. And here's another tool that Flash doesn't have that I use a lot, is the Select All by Color. So it's this red arrow here under your tool properties. And what I can do is I can select my sketch color, and it'll select everything that was drawn with that sketch color, and I can press delete to get rid of my sketch. Super useful. I do that a lot. Dang it, Bryson. Hey, Jesse, I just found your channel. God damn it. Chat keeps scrolling up. I just found your channel the other day, and I've been watching... Oh my god. I've been watching every day, something, learn how to animate, learn so much from you, but I have one question. What do you use to draw? That's in the frequently asked questions underneath the video, or underneath the stream, rather. So let's fill in his hand. Add some shading. Just really quickly. And then we'll get to recording. Let's erase some of this black. YT, I have a question. For someone with no recognition, how do I get clients and how much should I get paid? That's a super complicated question. Do your research. To find out how much you should get paid, you should research how much other people are getting paid that are at your skill level. Like, take an honest assessment of what your skill level is and see what other people are getting paid for the same work. As far as finding clients, there's some freelance websites you could do if you're just starting out, so you can build a portfolio. I started on Fiverr, actually. I don't know if it's any good anymore, but that's where I got my start working with clients and stuff. And actually, some of the clients I met on there I still work with on occasion. But yeah, on my blog I plan to add a more comprehensive list of websites you can use to find work. If you go to jessejjones.com and sign up for my email newsletter, it notifies you whenever I write a blog post on stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in learning, might be a good idea. Or you can just ask me on Twitter too. Always happy to answer questions on Twitter. Animation programs are expensive. If you go to my website, I have a blog post. I'm whoring myself out extra today. I have a blog post on free animation software. There's actually a ton of awesome free programs out there for animation. No need to pirate stuff anymore, which is super cool. Alright, so there's our example. Let's move our table. Trying to think of how I'm going to set this up. Well, first of all, let's move everything down a bit. Oops. There we go. Center it like that. Alright, I have to think about how I'm gonna explain this. Let's get my recording software ready to go. Hey, Mr. I Like Food, welcome back. Alright, let's get recording. Alright, so here's a really cool feature in Toon Boom, and it's Z-depth nudging. So everything that you draw in Toon Boom is on a 3D plane, even though it's a 2D program. So the example I'm going to show is I have this guy's arm behind a table, but I want to animate it, but I want to animate him moving his hand, but I want to animate his hand moving on top of the table. Well, in other programs to do that, you'd have to animate the hand movement, and then duplicate that animation, and then have the duplicated copy of that animation on top of the table. So you essentially have to duplicate every layer that you want to be on top of the table. But in Toon Boom, what you can do is you can... Let me lock my color card. But in Toon Boom, what you can do is you can select the object. So I selected my hand underneath my table and my forearm, and you can press Alt down. And that'll move it on top of the table. And you'll see it set keyframes right here because I'm moving it in space. So let's set up this guy for animation, and I'll show you in detail how I'm going to animate this. So first I'm setting up my origin points where I want all these joints to rotate on. This is super important if you're doing a character rig, because you want to make sure that all your points rotate where you want them to be. For his arm, I'm going to parent each one of these parts onto their parent. So, for example, when I move the shoulder, his forearm and his hand should move along with it. And if I move him at his elbow, his hand should follow this bone. So to do parenting, I'm going to parent everything to the body first. I'm going to... No, that's not how I do it. So to parent these objects, I'm going to grab his arm up, and I'm going to move it underneath his arm down, and you'll see a little blue line appear showing that it's going to get parented to his arm down. Oh wait, no, I'm doing that backwards. Never mind. So to parent these, I'm going to move his arm down to be parented underneath his arm up, which is his shoulder, by clicking and dragging, and you'll see a blue line appear showing that it's going to be parented. And when I let go, it doesn't work. Okay. Who did the bits?
Sorry I can't stay at the stream, but I just wanted to stop by. Bye peepholes.
By peoples. See you, Citra Nerd. Thanks for the bits. Appreciate it. So to parent this, I'm going to click and drag his arm down onto his arm up, and you'll see this dashed line appear showing that it's going to be parented. And you'll see a little line showing that it's underneath, and it gets indented a little. So to parent my hand, I'm going to do the same thing onto its arm down. And you'll see a dotted line showing where it's going to parent. And now I have a hierarchy. So when I select my arm up and grab my transformation tool, it moves the rest of my arm. And same thing if I grab my arm down, it moves his hand along with it. So this is really useful for animation, is having parenting. It makes animation a lot faster. So now that our character is all rigged up, you may see some issues with him. His shoulders going over his forearm and his forearms on top of his hand. Well, to fix that, we need to adjust it in Z-depth. So the way we do that is we click his forearm and press Alt down. So the way Z-depth works is you can think of the down arrow as moving towards you and the up arrow as moving away from you. So if I hold down Alt and press down, his forearm moves in front. But you'll see it also moved in front of the table. We'll get to that in a minute. So I need to do the same thing on his hand, right? So I'm going to press Alt and down until it's on top of his forearm. And now my arm's set up the way I want it to be. So let's animate it behind the table. So the table needs to go in front. So again, I'm going to press Alt down until the table's on top of both of those limbs. And for animation, I usually don't use a lot of pegs because it crowds up my... For animating characters, I don't usually use a lot of pegs. I used to set up a peg for every one of these layers, but really you don't need to, because you can set up keyframes on the drawing layers themselves. But what pegs are useful for is for putting things in groups. So the way I would probably set up this character is I could set up a peg for his arm. And again, set the origin point where I want it to be. No, skip that. Never mind. So the way I'd set up a peg is actually, I would make it for the whole character. So, but the way I would set up a peg is I would make it for the whole character. So I'm going to click his body, and I'm going to create a peg, and I'm going to call this peg his master peg. And then I'll select the rest of my layers, all involved in my character, and I'll drag them underneath the master peg, just like we did with the arm example. So now, when I select the master peg, I can move my whole character. And if I weren't animating this character, I can minimize my master peg, and it'll hide all my layers. So it's kind of like a group. And I can lock this so I don't accidentally animate him, so I don't accidentally select him. So pegs are useful for that, just organizing your layers and setting it up so you can animate a whole section of a character. So I've got my keyframes at the very beginning. So I'm going to do a breakdown keyframe here at frame 10. I'm going to select my arm up, arm down, and arm hand and set keyframe using my keyframe button. And then I'll move each one of these by rotating them out like so. But now I want it to be on top of the table. So what I can do is I can select each one of these layers and press Alt down just 4 or 5 times until I know it's on top of the table. That didn't work. Never mind. Hold on, let's start over. The power of editing. So I want to animate his arm going on top of the table. So first, I'm going to set a keyframe of him raising his arm up on frame 10 by selecting all of my layers with the Shift button and then pressing this Add Keyframe button. And that'll set a keyframe. It automatically creates a motion tween, and if you don't have one, like if it looks like this, those are stop motion keyframes. So if you want to create a motion tween, you want to select all of those frames and then press this button to create a motion tween. So now if I move this arm into position, you'll see we have our motion tween. And we can also select all 3 of these keyframes and use this drop-down box to set some easing on it. So easing just sets up... So easing, if you're familiar with animation, just favors one frame or the other. Or in this case, because I selected the S, it frames the end and the beginning and creates a very natural kind of motion to it. So now that my hand is in this position, I'm going to go ahead one frame, add another keyframe, and then I'm going to press Alt down. And I'm going to do that 4 or 5 times until I know it's on top of the table. And what that's done is it's brought it forward in Z space. So now, if I go to frame 20, set up my keyframes, and then rotate my arm down, I now have a hand that's on top of the table. And I'll add an easing to that as well. So instead of animating this twice and creating duplicate layers, I can just use the Z-depth nudging to have his arm go from behind the table to in front of it. This is insanely useful. I use it all the time. It's good for setting up your characters in case you want to have something appear in front of his face or behind it, or have his arm go behind his body. You could do that too. So Alt up or Alt down to move an object in Z space. And we'll call that good. I think that's a pretty good recording. And we'll save that. Z-depth. Okay, we'll save that. So that's how I record stuff for my tutorials. Next, I need to export them. So I'll go into Camtasia Studio, get those exported. But shoot, time flies, you guys. I actually need to start wrapping this stream up. Let's see who's all on. Oh, Willer, how's it going, man? Oh, you didn't know that tip? Yeah, it's super useful. Should we have him do something else while we're doing this? Let's have his head animate. We'll add some keyframes here. Then we'll select in the middle. We'll have his head rotate back and forth. Then we'll select all those keyframes and add some easing onto it. Oh. Call Don Bluth. Somebody get Don Bluth on the horn. We got a master animator in the house. Alright, guys. Well, I think that's going to be about it for me. I'm going to export these from Camtasia, which is super boring, and also freezes up my computer. So let's pass on the love. Let's see who we can raid. Let me see. Let me go into my Twitch really quick. So a raid is how we pass the love on once we're done streaming. It's just a nice thing to do. It's where we visit another streamer and infect them with lots of love and appreciation. So to do a raid... Oh, Dark Alice, holy shit, thank you for the bits. We were recording, so I didn't say thank you, but I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. But here's our raid call for anyone that wants to participate. Copy everything inside the quotation marks, including the PogChamp. And let's see who we can pass the love on to. So get that ready, get that copied. When you're done, it should look like this. So let's see who we can wade. As soon as my computer loads everything, it's kind of slow. Who can we pass the love on to? Let's see. Oh shit. Look who's streaming. Alright, so if you guys don't know Adam Phillips, the guy's an amazingly talented animator. So here's the stream we're going to raid. So go into his chat. If you post it in my chat, he won't see it. So make sure you go to Clyde's stream. Again, copy the "It's a Wade" message, and I'll give you guys a minute or two to pop into Adam's stream. It's going to take mine a while to load as well. That's the thing about these raids, is my computer's so slow at loading all these web pages. So, gives you guys a minute or two to pop into Adam's stream. So yeah, if you guys aren't following Adam Phillips, his Twitch address is CHLUAID. Super amazing animator. He's worked on Bob's Burgers. He did Bitey of Brackenwood, if you're from the Newgrounds days. Super talented guy. And I have an advertising loading, so we'll wait for that. God, this is so slow. This really sucks. Look at this choppy ad. Look at it go. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Oh, I didn't work at Cartoon Network. I worked for Cartoon Network on a We Bare Bears commercial. Come on, ad. Hurry up. Alright, there we go. Alright, so you guys ready? Let's do this. In 3, 2, 1, here we go. It's a Wade! Alright, guys. Thanks for waiting with me. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the Wade, Tersey. I hope you guys are all doing well, and we'll see you next time. I see there's some YouTube people I have to babysit, so I'll do that as well. Anyways, take care, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.